This podcast could potentially have adult language, adult themes, definitely drinking, and possibly the possibility of sexual content. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to Drinking with Authors, the Literary Briefs edition. Val was so well behaved in the last episode, and then, of course, in 2.5 seconds, it goes to complete shit. So my co-host today is the ever-interrupting Val Willis, because she's had apparently way too much Bailey's. Our guest today is Scott. Oh my God. It's just an intro. Let me get through the intro. Then you can talk all you want.
Okay.
Our guest today is Scott Colby. Woo!
Hi. I kind of wish I had some Baileys.
Yes, apparently. Well, that and her apparent inability to process liquor. Well, let's talk about what we're drinking, Val. So I'm gonna try to get through. I'm gonna say what I'm drinking, then you go. How about that?
I'm holding my breath.
And drinking with author swag. This is gonna be painful. I can already tell. I've got a little bit left of my Waynesville Soda Jerks, lavender and lemon, and I put gin into it, which apparently I can handle a little better than our friend Val. Val, what are you drinking now?
I just made coffee. I realized when I walked in there that the world tilted slightly, and I'm like, oh, I did too much, Bailey. I misjudged how lightweight I was going to be for today, I guess. I don't know. I don't even know anymore, Erica. I give up.
I doubt that horribly. I doubt that. Scott, what are you drinking?
I am drinking a Year with Dr. Nandu from Aeronaut. Feel like I've got a lot of catching up to do to get up to where you guys are at, but I'll work on it.
First of all, don't try to be where I'm at. I don't recommend that for humans most of the time. And Val, you're never going to be that lightweight. That is impossible.
I smell alcohol, and that's it. I'm done.
So this is good. Scott, rapid fire time, my friend. What is your favorite book of all time?
Magic Kingdom for Sale by Terry Brooks.
Very, very cool. Why do you like that book?
I think it's a great, very creative way to show off like a fantasy world, right? It's not something I've seen a lot before or since.
Very cool. What is your least favorite book of all time?
Oh man, so I could get skewered for this one. I could not get through the Two Towers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of walking in that book.
And a lot of they had lunch, and a lot of it rained, and a lot of let's sing a song, and it's like, can we get to wherever these towers are, please?
There's two of them. This is taking a really long time. Let's go.
Yeah,
no, that makes sense. Okay, what about your favorite book that was made into a movie or a TV show that you thought they did a very good job with?
Oh, and this is a good question. I like this one because it's a book that I really love Thomas Pynchon, right? And for years and years and years and years, it was, oh, he's unfilmable. But I thought they did an excellent job with Inherent Vice.
Very cool. Where do you think they didn't do a good job?
Yes.
Some of the casting choices I remember thinking were a little funky, right? Like I liked Joaquin as the main guy, but just some of the side characters did not seem quite like they fit.
Very cool. Val?
If you could be any mythical or magical creature, which one would it be?
Unicorn.
Ooh, why?
Horses are cool. Horses with horns seem even cooler.
All right. If you could go back into history, what time period would you choose?
70s, because that looks like a hoop.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I would like to go to a disco. Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Studio 54. Man, if I could go back to anywhere, I would go to Studio 54.
I like it. We'll find the time machine. We'll go together.
That would be awesome. I might not come back.
Let's see. If you could sit and talk with any author, alive or dead, who would you pick?
My brain went first to Thomas Pynchon, but I'm thinking of actually Ian M. Banks. His sci-fi series, I think, is fantastic. The Culture, very, very well written. Every book is kind of different, kind of like I've been doing. And I think that he would be fascinating to talk to.
Do you leave book reviews when you read them?
Sometimes if I'm questionable on something. I remember doing that for Gideon the Ninth, which I can't recommend enough. But like it had been recommended to me by Amazon's wonderful algorithms, and I was skeptical for a while. And I finally dove into it, read the first few chapters, kind of felt like the main character was written in a very man writing a woman kind of way, and was like, what is this? Where is this going? This doesn't feel quite right. So I started reading the reviews, and then I was reading it on the Kindle, so I didn't know who the author actually was. And I realized, oh, hey, it's gotten great reviews. It's actually pretty feminist and pretty progressive once you get going. And oh, it's not written by a dude, it's written by a lady. So I plugged through after reading those reviews and was pleasantly surprised, and like one of my favorite things that I've read in the last couple of years.
But do you write reviews for stuff you've read?
I do not know.
No, you're an author who should like reviews, and so you got to write reviews for things.
You're right. It's skewing my karma. I should get on that.
Yeah, there is a karma thing with writing reviews. Just not if they're terrible. If they're terrible, email the author directly.
Tweet right at them, right? That's the best part.
Yes, true. What is your favorite weird food combination?
I'd say pineapple on pizza, right? Because that gets a lot of hate, but I'm team pineapple on pizza.
I hate it.
Throw some ham on there.
I'm so not a fan of fruit on pizza.
Add some bacon to it, and it's
Oh, look
Yeah.
at
You can add bacon to
Okay.
almost anything, and it makes it amazing. Like ice cream, add bacon to ice cream, and it makes it amazing. And potato chips, which is the bomb.
Yeah.
If you can. Oh, good. So I just threw you off somehow. Your
again.
chocolate milk, Slim Jim girl. I just threw you off with potato chips and ice cream. That's what Val eats, by the way. That's her go-to writing snack food.
Really?
Is
A bag of
Slim Jim
Doritos,
chocolate
a
milk.
Slim Jim, and a chocolate milk.
Do you ever like stir the chocolate milk with the Slim Jim?
No,
Okay.
no,
Just got to make sure on that one.
no.
All right.
no.
What
Maybe you
about
should
your
try it.
writing food, Scott? What is your go-to writing food? Your snack.
Beer, does that count? That's a
Yes.
food, right? Yeah.
That counts. That
Yeah.
I
counts.
count that. Wine is one of my favorite go-to writing things.
Food group unto
By
itself.
the end of the bottles, though, I'm like, look at the stuff I've written the next day, and I'm like, well, I thought this was much more clever than it actually is. Drunk writing, that can be so much fun. Sometimes it can turn out really well or
Yep.
really terribly, but I don't feel like there's middle of the ground drunk writing.
No,
It's either fantastic or it's like the worst thing in the world. And
Yep.
just sounds, you just put sounds on a piece of paper.
And if you longhand it like me, you can see the progression, right? Like as the writing starts to get a little bit more ragged, you can tell what was written.
Do you
You know.
always longhand it first before you type it in?
Generally, yeah. I like doing that. It's like a first draft, second draft kind of thing, right? Works out pretty well.
That makes sense. Although when I do that, I'm like, I already wrote this. I don't want to type it up. I
I'm
already wrote it.
impatient for it.
I'm like, I don't want to type up what I already. Now, if I had somebody to type it up, maybe I'd longhand write more often. I need to know that just sits here and types up all my
There you
longhand
go.
writing.
There you go.
I've
You can get
desperately
into it.
been trying to find any program that would actually work where you could use a stylus and stuff. I've tried every single one of them.
Yeah.
None of them work. I don't know why we can't have this technology because it seems like brilliant technology.
Mhm.
The stuff out there just doesn't work. No matter what it is, drives me crazy. Okay, Val, question. I can't tell if that was a question on your brain or you forgot where you were. Which
I
was
forgot where it was. You should know the answer to that already.
I knew the answer to that. I just wanted to put you on the spot.
Oh, you said you played D&D for the first time.
Yeah.
What class and race did you choose?
I was it was advised that I keep it simple. So I was a human soldier. I was a veteran of many wars. I was very gruff and rough and tumble and played that up as best as I could during the.
Oh, you seem much more roguelike to me.
I know, or even Bard.
Oh, I like
Bard, why the hell would you say Bard?
Bards do shenanigans, okay? Like, okay, so I'm the type that when I build a character, I try to break stuff. I break stuff all the time, but I break stuff. So for instance,
Shock.
my friends like, I'm going to do a Pathfinder and I'm going to do it with the Hobgoblin campaign. And I'm like, oh, awesome. And I realized that Hobgoblins can be mammoth riders. And if you're a mammoth rider, you get a mammoth with level 4 bardic shout. So I'm a bard hobgoblin on a barding elephant. And I said, I am going to show up like Prince Ali from Aladdin.
Did you sing the song too?
Yes.
She probably sang the song out loud, like normally. Val is yeah. Val can be used as a bad
That's
example on a
me.
regular
That's the
basis.
kind of shenanigans I do. So, but let's see. You said you played Destiny too.
Yeah.
What's your favorite class to play on there?
Warlock, and I've got a character that I've had since the early days of original vanilla Destiny. Love the lore, love the world building. Think it's super fantastic. Like one of the best feeling shooters I've ever picked up too. Like it flows. It's so easy.
Yeah, my favorite class is a hunter, and the same thing. I have a hunter that's been there the whole time from the beginning.
Nice. I hate the
I don't
jumping
like
though.
redoing the raids, so
Yeah.
I don't like playing Destiny. Like I get excited. I'll go in when they launch new stuff. And then when people are like, let's run through this same dungeon for the 4th time. It's also the reason I got tired of WoW. Because I'm like, oh, I've already done this. Let's do something new.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, it's definitely on a little hiatus right now in between what they've got going on, trying to play some other things, working on Jedi Outcast right now, very different piece, but also very well.
I play Borderlands. That's
Nice.
That's her jam.
That's my jam.
Yeah.
I'm right now in the middle of Tiny Tina's, all the expansions they have right now.
Oh, those are great.
Because
Those are
it's
fantastic.
basically Dungeons and Dragons video game form.
Yep.
But with Tina, I appreciate it. So I do have a question. What about if you could travel anywhere, like where would you go to? Like bucket list, no cost thing, like where would you want to travel?
I would love to go to South America. Would love to see the jungle and the rainforest and all of the old ruins down there. Love to just like spend a month on a tropical island too, right? Like drinking margaritas, writing books, not giving a crap. Europe seems cool. Would love to go to Italy and just eat my face off. And would love to see the Great Wall of China someday.
Okay, that's a lot of we did
He's got a whole check.
Do a whole world tour.
We just did a world tour. Where would you like to go? Too. The entire world. That's where I want to go.
Back to back to back. Yep.
Is there anywhere you travel to that you're like, I don't need to do that again?
I often feel that way about Vermont. Just not for me. People in New England love it, but it's just, I don't know. It's pretty. You see one of those mountains, you've kind of seen them all. I've seen the leaves change every year, forever. I understand why people like it, but it's just not my favorite place.
So leaves changed for the first time this past fall.
Okay, nice.
Yes.
I finally got out of Florida as well.
And I heard so much about it all the time as she was driving, and the leaves. Oh my gosh, there's these
and I'm like, what is happening? What is going on?
She was like, what's this? What's this? I was like, oh my God.
Just get to my house already, Valerie.
You're on a highway. I'm like,
I was on my way to her.
Attic, can't hear you.
Nice.
No, it's very interesting when people see stuff for the first time and they get blown away, and it's something you see all the time, and you're like,
right. It's pretty. It is. I appreciate it, but I don't need to. No.
I suppose that's the same feeling I get when people see manatees, dolphins, and alligators. They're like, oh, and I'm like, just another day.
Just another day here in Florida.
Here in
Especially when you
Florida.
see them all at the same time. No,
Yeah, I have
no doubt.
I go fishing in brackish water, that's where the fresh water and salt water. There are manatees, dolphins, and alligators and sharks all in the same section. My favorite is going to Mosquito Lagoon, and what people don't know about Titusville over there is that the water glows from like June to October almost. Yeah, it's bioluminescence, right? So one time we take the kids out there all the time, and we usually stop by Hall River Canal before I take them someplace where they can splash around in it safely. But we're watching these paddle boarders or kayakers, right? And you can see the entire dolphin under the water glowing. It's really cool. And they're like, oh, look at the dolphins. And then we watch this paddle boarder go, there's another dolphin over here. And me and my husband are like, I see the big glowing shape, but that dolphins move. That's not moving in the same way. I'm like, honey, I think that's a bull shark. And the guy gets over there and he goes, oh shit, it's a shark. And he starts it's the best. Oh, it's good.
Yeah. The scariest thing we have in the waters up here in Massachusetts, if you're freshwater, is the snapping turtles. Those things get huge, and
Oh God.
they don't like it when you're a little too close to them.
No, and they have the like ginormous necks. It's
Yeah, they're dinosaurs. Yeah.
Soft shells around here built about the same. And then we have the alligator snappers, and then the alligator gar.
Okay, Val, no, that we're not doing this. I was gonna see how long you were gonna continue, but I'm
I will
stopping
keep
you.
going,
We're
Erica.
not
You have to
doing
stop
this.
me. You have to pull me out.
I do. Like, and then she's like, let me discuss every kind of frog. And no,
It's
no,
bad.
close your mouth. We're not doing this at all. Out of control. Okay. So you said you were looking to venture into other genres and stuff. Is there a genre that you would absolutely love to write, but you're kind of afraid that you wouldn't do a good job at it?
Romance. I would love to whip up a ridiculous pen name and write the most ridiculous romance fiction that I could come up with.
Why don't you then?
Yeah. Never know until you try.
This
Jeff
is fair.
Strand did that. He
Need to get some more beers.
I'm telling you, wine and beer will help anything.
I think,
It's true.
except for me.
It lets us watch you like a spectator sport.
At least I'm entertaining, right?
That's an understatement.
Oh, let's see. What writing? What is a common writing bad habit that you have? Like, for me and Erica, I think we tend to crutch on a certain phrasing, like they sigh all the time in a certain novel.
I don't crunch on phrasing now. Now I change the names of characters from chapter to chapter. That's my
that's
thing.
your new thing.
That's my new thing. It's okay. We don't need to maintain names. It's fine. The editor will figure out who I'm talking about. Doesn't matter what the name is. They just send me the names and go, which one do you want to use? And I'm like, ooh, let's use this one.
I think I do have a habit of falling into repetitive kind of structures, right? Like I noticed in what I'm working on now, I'll have a paragraph talking about a bunch of things, and then it ends with the main character's perspective on it in one sentence. And I realized the other day I just kept doing that and doing that and doing that and doing that. It's like, this is why I write it first and then type it up, right? Because then I can clean it up. Yeah. But it was like, that's not gonna fly. Can't do that.
No, it's always fascinating from book to book how it shifts too. It's never the same problem twice. What writing habit or skill do you think you do well?
Dialogue. I think I'm pretty good at that. I think I'm good at keeping that realistic and making different characters sound like different people, and keeping that flowing and keeping it working well. Yeah, I think that's definitely one of my strengths.
Very cool. Look at you asking writer questions.
I know. Look at me go.
That's a very good question too.
Like a lot of people, like, I love asking these questions, especially with like Jonathan Mayberry or someone, because people need to understand we're writers and it doesn't change. It doesn't change no matter how high on the totem pole or low on the totem pole you are. We all struggle with the same things, and things like that. Do you
I watching her chase her thoughts.
It's your turn, it's your turn. Like,
what are you asking there, Val? Because it's fun to watch wherever you're going in your brain.
I know my eyes are chasing the thoughts, and I'm like, oh, it just went out the window.
What did you
Dagger it?
Did you ask a question or no? No, you just
I lost it.
Okay. I appreciate that very much. Okay, so what about what world would you go into if you could go into any literary world?
So the answer came immediately, and I'm working on a reason why. Maybe Infinite Jest, just because it struck me as so like realistic, but weird and strange and offbeat. And it's one of those books where I don't feel like I could actually recommend it to anyone, but I'm still glad I read it. And I would love to be able to go play Eschaton and just like simulate nuclear war with tennis and like the world's worst PC hanging out doing all the calculations. Like that to me seems like it'd be a fun Sunday.
Interesting. Okay, what about okay, and I just lost my question that I just
see. It's not just.
I have a drunk gnome that's very. My drunk gnome brings random post-its, and it's like, "Do you want this one?" And it's something about cucumbers, and I'm like, "No, that is not the post-it I want. Thank you. Go file that away." Okay, where to go? It's coming back. No, Val, you go.
So I know you said earlier in the podcast before, if folks are following along to my drunkenness, but you said that you chose to self-publish the first book. Did you even try to do traditional? Did you look at traditional? What was the deciding? Did you try other things before settling for self-publish, or did you just run in for self-publish because it spoke to you?
I tried for a little bit. I did get a couple of form rejection letters that were like barely on a full piece of paper. And of course, that's kind of a badge of honor. Like I hung them up on the fridge, but it was kind of like, I looked at the whole process and was just like, why am I doing this to myself? I do think that, being older and wiser, I do think it is a worthwhile process if you think you can get through it. But yeah, I tried a little bit. My patience for it was not long. And then when I saw that, oh, hey, here's this other avenue, I was like, you know what? Let's do that. Let's see how this goes. What's the worst that can happen?
And look where you are now. And that's freaking awesome.
Exactly.
Yep. Let's see. What's the other question I had? I had another question. I swear, Erica.
I believe you. I think I somehow caught whatever the hell's going on with you, because I'm totally fine over here. And I'm like, where did my question just go?
I feel pretty. Go for it.
See, I did catch something from you. I don't like this at all. I do not like this at all. Have you been on any panels or anything like that talking about writing?
Yeah, I was on a panel at Kansas City Comic-Con last year. It was a blast.
What was that? What was the panel about?
Oh man, why? I'm gonna blame the beer. What was that?
We can blame Val, because she's like a shit show right now.
Val's Bailey somehow like leapt across the screen into my brain,
and into Erica. It's
viral. It's viral, Bailey's.
Yeah, I believe it was about building fantasy worlds, if I'm not mistaken. I know that we had pretty good attendance. We had a lot of good questions asked. Yeah, I think it was about building. Yes.
I love it. It always feels like a satisfying panel when the crowd asks questions, right? You feel like that they were engaged at that point, and it really makes you feel like they're taking advantage of the whole reason why you went up there. What is a topic you do like to discuss most often on panels?
Me, right? Like we all got that, right?
Yeah.
Talk about myself for a couple hours. That's always great.
I like talking about myself. What else?
I like talking about the craft of writing too, right? Like how you get from point A to point B and how you like figure out. I think most of us have a bunch of like things we want to hit in whatever we're working on, and like filling in that in between matter. I think is more interesting to talk about.
Okay, Val. You're going to get the final question. I'm going to ask a question, and then you can have the final one.
Let's hope I can remember it by the time.
I know. I'm giving you lots of leeway to totally screw us up. Do you believe in the paranormal, like ghosts and stuff like that?
Yes, yes, not all of it. Ghosts, I think, are a decent possibility. I go back and forth on Bigfoot. I don't like this whole like Bigfoot is a multiversal creature, and that is why we can't find him, because when you chase him, he escapes to another dimension thing that seems to be happening. Aliens, I think, pretty strong possibility. And I've always been a fan of those paranormal shows, right? Like those were always on the TV when I was younger. They're still on the TV when I go home for Christmas, and it's kind of a fun bonding thing with my father and my brother and my mother being unhappy that there's stupid ghosts on TV. So it's a thing, and I enjoy it a lot. Yeah, yeah.
Very cool.
Did you totally listen to, what is it, Eerie Travels? Or,
Yeah, Gary Travels, that's our other podcast.
yeah, Mark Muncy.
Talking about yourself.
Well, I wasn't talking about, I mean, legitimately, I wonder if people, because as writers, especially fantasy, horror, that kind of thing, it's always interesting to me when they go, no, I don't believe in the paranormal. And I'm like, how do you write a fantasy world?
Yeah, it's
But
a little awkward, right? Yeah.
yeah, I'm like, aliens, if we think we're alone on this rock in the middle of space, if you truly think we're alone, you have so many problems.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah. Because the universe is so big. It's so big.
Yeah.
We may never meet them, but they're out there. Yeah.
For my honeymoon or my anniversary, oh my God, the struggle is real today. For my anniversary last year, me and my husband wanted to stay the weekend at St. Augustine, right? And I've always wanted to go on a ghost tour. I always talk about mythology and ghost stories, and I know all this information and history, but I've never been on one. And Mark Muncy's like, oh, St. Augustine has some great ones. And I said, well, what do you recommend? He says, well, if they still have openings, like the Old City Jail After Dark. So I go and I get a ticket for Old City After Dark. What I did not pay attention to is this is not a ghost tour. This is a paranormal investigation for the next 3 hours from midnight to 3 a.m. And my husband's like, what did you get us into? And I'm like, I'm sorry. And he's like, they're like, you can use the dowsing rods. And Justin's like, I'll take these. I know how these work. And they're like, oh, so you've done this before? He goes, looking for crystals for grandpa when I was a kid. Same tool. Just like, oh, but it was a good time because I got to be, use the equipment, learn about the equipment and stuff like that.
Any ghosts?
Yeah.
There were some crazies. That place is haunted. Like we were in the main room, and one of the doors, because there's nothing electrical about the door systems there, and it come to find out the guy who built that jail, because of the mechanisms he put in that jail, won the Alcatraz contract. So it's the same builder, which I had no idea until I went on this tour and they started talking about the darker history, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like one of the doors started sliding and clanked. And it's like, that is and then of course she goes, look, like you guys can try moving the doors. It's not that easy to move one of these heavy metal doors. And it was really interesting. And they had spirit boxes. And at one point she had brought a coloring book and 2 crowns, right? And she's like, I have a red and blue crown. And she's like, last time I was here, there was a little kid voice coming across and he wanted to color because this is where the sheriff's kids used to be. But 1 or 2 kids died throughout the years because of yellow fever and things like that. And she's like, do you want to color with the red or the blue? And the little voice would come across the spirit box finally and say purple. She's like, no, red or blue. Then she turns to the rest of us. There's 6 of us, right? And she's like, who wants to color with the ghost? And we're like, no. My husband's like, I will. He gets over there and he's looking at the crown and he takes out his phone and turns on the flashlight. He goes, it's a purple crown. It's a purple crown. We're like, oh shit.
Wow.
The ghost was correcting her every time she would ask.
Huh.
And it was just really like, how do you explain that? So it was a really, really trippy experience for sure. But it, like, as a writer who writes about stuff like that, to be able to be in the shoes of a paranormal investigator in an environment like that, it was really cool experience. So if you ever come to Florida, St. Augustine, Old City Jail After Dark.
Sounds great. I'll put it on the to-do list. That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
See if
let's see,
Val
the last,
remembers her question now that
let's
she's
see if
brought
I
it up. I'm
remember
so
my
tired.
question. Listen to you. All right. You've done self-publishing, you've done traditional publisher. What would you like to tell authors who are trying to consider both paths, what they should understand they still have to do no matter which path they choose?
Marketing, right? Marketing. That's the big one that everybody forgets about or thinks is just going to happen, or like the algorithm is just going to take care of it for you because you have good keywords, and that's not how it's going to work. You gotta advocate for yourself, and you have to do it in a variety of ways, and you have to be organized about it and thoughtful about it and think about how it relates to your work.
Awesome.
Very cool.
See, that was a pretty good question.
Yeah.
I'm impressed you remembered it.
I kept repeating it in my head.
I was wondering how you got there.
Because my thoughts like, don't forget the question because Erica's going to give you shit.
That's not very nice. I would, but that's not very
Yes.
nice.
You're
Okay,
the
Scott.
best motivator.
Shameless self-promotion time. Talk about your books, talk about how to find you.
I'm Scott Colby. You can find everything about me on my website at deviantmagic.com. You can find all the books, which I'm not going to go through again. We're going to just fan them out like this and make this look kind of
Yes,
look
sexy.
at the colors. Look how fantastic this is. Contemporary fantasy, lots of humor, lots of good stuff going on there. Date with Death is book number 1. Vengeance Squad is the most recent release of book number 5, and everything in between is freaking wonderful too. I'm on Facebook as myself. I'm on Twitter as Colby Knows Best. I'm on Instagram as Scott Writes Fine. And if you're ever out and about in the Boston area and you see somebody writing in a pub or a brewery, that might be me. Come say hello.
Very, very cool. It has been wonderful to have you on the podcast. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
That one, which is Val on my screen. I don't know if it is on everybody else's, but I can just point.
Yeah. Oh, see, we're below him, and you totally Hollywood Squares kind of thing.
I would love to do I'd be brilliant in Hollywood Squares.
You would.
Be ridiculous at Hollywood Squares. Okay, guys. This has been Drinking with Authors, the Literary Briefs edition. I've been your host, Erica Lance. My co-host, who's going to keep her mouth closed if she can possibly do it, it's been Valerie Willis. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave us a review. Val would love to know what you think of her. And don't forget to check us out next time. We'll see you then.